Zidane, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the latest chapter of My Hero Academia. Now, this one was pretty standard. There wasn't too much to it. Basically, a lot of what this chapter was recovering from the Lady Nagant battle and moving on to the next battle, and basically prepping us for what is about to happen moving forward. The chapter starts off pretty easily by just reintroducing us to the crew that is helping out Deku, which we now understand that there's actually a lot more heroes who are helping out Deku than the big three, basically. There's also a lot of other ones, like Edge Shot, Mount Lady, Kamui Woods, and from what it's looking like, there's actually a lot more than what we even know. So, yeah, that's surprising, not. But yeah, we get a lot of really simple stuff going forward, and basically everyone is understanding exactly what's going on. But the big thing that happens in this chapter is revealing just how hard things are getting for a lot of heroes. And to an extent, it makes a lot of sense. These heroes are not necessarily the ones that are top tier. They're just people. And that's a thing that is honestly true of almost every person, hero or otherwise, that they are humans. But for some reason, so many people put them up on a pedestal, and all of these heroes, it's too much for them. People who are yelling at them, tearing them down, it's impossible for them to deal with. Death Arms can't handle it at all, and basically he quits. He actually quits, and he can't, and it's shocking to see that. He was one of the big heroes that we see in the first moments of this series, and he's well known, and yet it hurts him so much to be belittled, to be destroyed by all of these people, that he can't handle it. And understandably so. Many of these heroes are struggling a lot. And on top of that, many of these heroes have been doing great work. Death Arms was responsible for finding the heroes who had turned evil and took them down, locked them up so that they wouldn't cause any more chaos. Sliding Go-Go, he locked him up, got him arrested, and now he's serving time for what he has done. And that is important. But that's not all that we're dealing with. We're also dealing with the other heroes who are dealing with other chaos. Endeavor, who is getting calls and messages from his dad, from Shoto, who just wants to see his dad. He wants to help him. He wants to know what the heck is going on, but he can't. He cannot know what is going on because right now things are too insane. And while he wants to work with his kids to find Dabi, it's not easy to do that right now. Right now, they are dealing with more pressing matters. The upheaval of the Hero Society is in action, and they cannot stress away from that. They have to focus on that. They can't focus necessarily on the dramas that are happening in their real lives. And that worries me. Endeavor is currently driving an even bigger wedge between him and his family because he's not involving them in this situation, which he understands that he should, but at the same time, he knows that if he does, he is going to hurt them. He is going to hurt everyone even more. And I think he just needs to come clean to them and say, I am scared for your lives if you come into this. I am scared for what is going to happen. I have to protect your friend. I have to protect everyone right now. So all I am asking for you is to keep looking for... Look as you will, but please be cautious. Be careful how you look. Be careful with who you are working with. Because things are not easy by any measure. And yeah. They then get a call that Deku has captured another villain. And Deku... he's becoming something different. Something not human. And that scares me. Since the time of the fire, the explosion in the last chapter, Deku hasn't taken off his mask. At all. And he doesn't look human. And they actually bring this to a point. They explain that he is coated in blood and hiding the scars. And it's insane. We actually get to see Stain briefly, and his description of what Deku is honestly insane. I will come back to the stuff that happens between Deku and All Might in a bit, because that is before that. But when Stain talks about him, he says, they say he appears without a sound, and that he's got a whole mess of quirks in him. That sounds like All for One's ability, right? Or like a Nomu even. But apparently he goes around helping people. The rumors say he's caked with blood and filth, which cover up his many scars. Look at him. You'd never guess he was a hero. And that is 100% true. This is the last image of the actual chapter. And if you didn't know better, you wouldn't think that's a hero. No, you'd think villain or monster at best. But this is what Deku has become. Sure, he's striving to be a hero, to help people, but he's turning into something that he doesn't want to be. A monster. Or at least something that looks like a monster. And that is terrifying. Deku has become so obsessed with taking down All for One that he's not really himself anymore. And there is, like I said, some stuff that happens with All Might, and I want to read some of that as well. All Might says to himself, I swore I'd raise you up and protect you, but I know how it is. You are the only one who can bear this burden, and I know how crushing it is. Do your best. You deserve to rest. I need to tell you that, kid. And then he stops as he falls down, distraught, broken. He knows that Deku has been through so much, and yet he can't do anything to help him. He tells Deku to take a lunch with him, just so that he can eat. But Deku doesn't listen. He runs off. He stops looking back at him. He stops. He doesn't want All Might to get himself hurt. He doesn't have his powers anymore. And it hurts. I think Stain is actually a lot more important than we may think. With All Might, and All Might has been the person who has been the rock that Deku is built on. but he's done things that are not perfect. He's done things that he would prefer he didn't do. But and now that he's telling Deku he needs to rest, he needs to stop for just a little bit, relax just a bit, I think Deku just doesn't have it in him to actually listen right now. Because he is so focused on this one thing, one project. If he gets this done, he can rest. After that, until then, he can't rest. He cannot relax. He needs to take down this villain who has destroyed entire families, practically an entire world. I think that Stain, like I said, is going to be the one who's going to stop him. But I don't necessarily think that Stain's going to be doing this alone. For some reason, I have this feeling that Stain is going to introduce him to a few different people. Not just explaining it via himself, but showing Deku other heroes. Heroes who have been doing this stuff for years without any recognition. Without really doing anything. Even without licenses for a brief bit. He's going to introduce him to the Vigilantes. Possibly. It's hard to say because obviously we have to wait on Vigilantes to know for sure. But the fact is that I think that that is a decent possibility for what Stain is going to do. Stain is going to be the one who's going to turn to Deku and say, "You are a true hero. Do not mistake that. But you need to rest. A hero cannot be a hero if he does not help himself every now and again. If he does not rest. If he does not make sure that he is in tip-top shape. Because if he doesn't, then someone is going to get hurt. And he's not going to be able to do anything because he's too tired. He's too ragged. To not be able to do anything is going to hurt more people than it helps. In the long run, you have to take time for yourself. You have to rest. Yes, Stain has been the person who has multiple times said, you have to help others first. You have to go out of your way to make sure that other people are safe. But if he turns around and tells Deku, for a moment, for at least a little bit, you have to make sure that you are in tip-top shape because you cannot be a true hero without that information. That is going to be the thing that is going to shock Deku out of his state and may change him back from looking like a monster to actually taking care of himself, apologizing to his friends for leaving them out of the loop, apologize to All Might for running away from him so many times, apologizing to his mom for not actually making sure that she was okay. A lot of these aspects are going to be very hard on Deku. Moving forward, like I said, it's gonna be a challenge. But right now, he can actually handle it a little bit better if someone just gives him that kick in the butt that says, stop, you need to rest. And yeah, I think that Stain is going to be the one to do that. But on top of that, I think that Stain is more than that. He's going to be the reason that we meet a lot of the other characters that are going to be involved with this time. Because the fact is that even though a lot of these heroes are abandoning their post, I think Stain is going to be the one who is going to lead them to true heroes. Heroes who have stood up for justice and made sure that people were okay, first and foremost. People that he considers true heroes, first and foremost. That being maybe not the vigilantes that we've seen in the series, but maybe new vigilantes who stood up and made sure that they could actually protect people. They stood up and became heroes when other heroes couldn't do the job. These are the heroes that Stain sees as true heroes. And in this time, those are the ones that you're gonna want. People who will stand up and won't just be doing this to protect themselves, but will be doing it to protect their communities, making sure that everyone is safe, no matter what, and suggesting to others to help, to make sure that people are safe. Even if you don't have a good quirk, you can still do something to help others. You can go out of your way to help by helping with food. You can help by making sure that there's a lot of other things. The heroes of our society have been true heroes, especially, and it's kind of shocking to think about it, but in all aspects, it's true that the world that we live in is probably a really good example of what the heroes need. People who are helping in any small way that they can, which a lot of people have done in our society. But the thing is that heroes are looking so much for other heroes that they're ignoring the fact that there are actual heroes all around them. Heroes who don't have their licenses but are still helping people out. And Stain is going to be the one who's going to remind them of that. Sure, absolutely, some of these heroes that Deku has been working with already know that there are heroes who don't have licenses and have helped countless people in the past, but they haven't really been following that. And as such, Stain is going to be the one who's going to lead them to people to actually think about, to recruit, to help out, to get society back to normal. Even if they can't help with the fight, they can help people get back on their feet, get ready to return to their lives when all of this is over. That is the thing that heroes need to do, and it will remind the heroes of who they have always been striving to be. It's one of the reasons why I love Stain, because Stain is a villain, 100%, but he does these things to make sure that people are okay. He makes sure that heroes are actually heroes and are going out of their way to make sure that they help people. They're not going because it gets them money or it does this or that. He goes out of their way to make sure that they are helping people. And honestly, I think that that's an interesting fact. I think that he would actually consider Uraraka, believe it or not, to actually be a true hero. Because she's not going out of her way to become a hero just because of the money. She's not doing it for herself. She's doing it for her family, to help them, to make sure they can actually stand on their own 2 feet. And and on top of that, she loves being a hero, and she has grown to loving being a hero. And honestly, I think a lot of these characters he would actually consider a hero, except Mineta. We all know he wouldn't consider Mineta a hero, but that's beside the point. The point, though, is that Deku, upon getting this information from Stain, whatever it is, he's going to realize that he can actually find people that he can rely on. His classmates. He has been relying on them for so long, and yet he doesn't actually think about it. But he's seeing how these other heroes have been relying on one another so much that's going to kick him in the butt, and it's going to actually make him understand what he needs to do. And this battle will actually be much easier thanks to Stain. It's kind of shocking because Stain, in a sense, will become the world's greatest hero because he was the one who gave Midoriya a kick in the butt to remind him what he needed to do. But no one's going to talk about Stain because he was a villain. No one's going to think about him as the hero because people are going to cover it up. And yeah, I think that Deku will always remember Stain as being a hero in this aspect because he was the one who kicked him in the butt and got him to go in the right direction. But he's not going to be able to tell people that because Stain's a villain. Maybe he'll visit him while he's in prison living out the rest of his sentence, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see exactly what the heroes do from this point forward, and to see if Stain actually does what I think he's gonna do. But anyways, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and ring that notification bell. Of course, if you have any thoughts or theories, please leave them down in the comments below. If you are going to leave a theory, make sure to say theory review somewhere in your comment. And of course, if you guys do want to support the channel even more, then definitely head down to the description and check out all of our links down there, including our social medias, our other channels, and ways that you can support us financially, including the merch store, our book, and of course the Patreon, which a big thank you to our current patron, Sheeny. But anyways, guys, I've been Electro Ninja, and I will see you guys next time. But on!